Hello, my name is Jadeja. Thank you so much for joining me. What is your name
Yes.
and your pronouns?
My name's Priscilla. I go by she, her.
Okay. And how long have you been a K-pop stan?
Since like 2007, I would say, when
Oh,
like
okay.
Girls' Generation first became popular.
That's awesome. Do you still stan them?
Yes, of course. I'm so excited they're coming back.
I heard that. I'm like very new to Girls' Generation, but
Mhm.
I think I did their debut and maybe one after that. But I know that one or two weren't they in like the SM like the female comeback when they like all came together?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
they were.
So have you ever been to a K-pop concert?
Yeah, my only one I've ever got to go to was Monsta X. That was the recent tour. Because I've only recently had like the money to actually spend on being a stan.
Right, right. That's awesome. So I'm really excited that you're here. Hopefully we have a good time. I won't waste too much of your time. I
Sure.
just wanted to start like a little series for different fans so we can just chat together. I know we're on different coasts. So so do you find that you have a lot of K-pop fans around you, like other K-pop fans around you, or do you think that they're more like far away?
I thought that like it's California. I think there's like a lot of K-pop fans here. A lot of places to get merch. Yeah, so I think the community for K-pop is pretty big here. I'm not sure what it would be like elsewhere, but I've noticed here, yeah, it's pretty big.
Right. And you said California. So I can't remember because I went to a Monster X tour. This is my first K-pop
Hmm.
as well. And did they do two in California? Did they do two?
They just did the one
Oh,
in LA,
okay.
but like that stadium is huge.
It's crazy. Did you so like what was like your thoughts going into it? Was it your first K-pop concert or just your first Monster X?
First K-pop concert completely.
Same.
Yeah.
Were you like prepared or did you like hear like any advice to kind of prepare yourself for what was gonna
Um,
happen?
I purposefully avoided as much of like people's like fan videos as
Yeah.
much as possible because I didn't want to get it spoiled. I wanted it to be as much of a surprise as it could be. Um, I mean, did I take any advice or like prepare for it? Not really. I just kind of went into it just wanting it to be like a whole new surprise of an experience.
Right. Were you like, did you have good seats or were you kind of in the back?
We were in like the seats, I would say like row 30. So it wasn't too far. Like I would have loved to have done pit, but yeah, I just didn't want to spend the money on that right now. And I wanted to do VIP and everything so badly, but it's hard to drop that kind of cash.
I agree. My friend, she was in the pit, and yeah, she went to two concerts, so it was she was really lucky. But yeah, I so much enjoyed them. Do you have a bias in Monster X?
I claim a double bias because I can't choose. Shonu and Hyungwon.
Oh,
Yes. I noticed you call Hyungwon like baby. Like that's what I love about him too.
and like everyone thinks he's my bias, and like they have me. Is he my bias? Like it's just Monster X. They all of them are so amazing. It's really hard to pick a bias.
I
So
agree.
I love them so much. Are there any other maybe third gen groups that you're into?
I'd say the other group right now that I'm into is Mamamoo.
Yeah, I just got into them.
Yes.
Do you have a
The
bias in
vocal
there yet?
queens.
Yeah, you agreed.
Solar.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's
She's my
such a
girl.
powerhouse. Like they all have like great voices.
Hmm.
And like I remember like someone commented they like kind of like the female B2B. Like they have amazing vocals, so that's
Yes.
amazing.
The
Do you,
range is crazy.
exactly, especially live. Like, whew.
Hmm.
I would actually really enjoy to see them live because I feel like that would
Yeah.
be amazing.
I
Um,
would love to hear that live.
right?
Yes.
Do you stand any fourth gen?
Um, Honestly, like it's hard for me to get into standing a fourth gen group because they're all so much younger than me. So it's difficult because it just there's something that feels very weird and out of place about that. I don't,
Yeah.
not that they're not extremely talented, but it just there's a weird feeling behind like watching such a younger group.
I agree, especially when they go to like the other routes.
Hmm.
And it's funny that you said that because like I don't stand TXT, but I do enjoy them. I think they're very talented. They are younger than me as well. But it's funny because I have a friend who's their age, and like we see them differently. Like I see them more like they're like so cute and like they're my children, and she's like, no, they're hot. Like and I'm just like, oh, like we're two different things. So I definitely understand that. Thankfully, the fourth gen that I stand, they're right there at my age, or even like a few members older. So but I do see what you mean. Like it can be uncomfortable. Like they're children, you know. But that's awesome. Do you like what was like the last, I guess, fourth gen group that you did listen to?
Gosh, I mean, I've heard IVE just because they are in Starship Entertainment with Monsta X. I've heard a lot of their stuff, and I mean, all of it is new. I think they only have like 2 like singles out right now. So yeah, I've heard some of their stuff, and I think they're a wonderful new group. But it's just, again, it's a weird thing because the youngest member is like 15 or 16 or something. So it's just, yeah.
And I think that's really young to start. I get them in another like young group. I think I get them in like the JYP group, the new group, confused because I don't know. They're just all young and just very new. I think they have 2 songs as well. So yeah. Do you stand any second gen or first gen?
So obviously Girls' Generation, they were like my introduction to K-pop really. But actually before then there was a singer called Ivy. And it's not that I didn't really stan her, but I like discovered her on YouTube. And then the algorithm like led me to Girls' Generation, Super Junior, of course, and Big Bang was also big at the time. And I had a huge gap actually where I wasn't really listening to K-pop at all. And then one day I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to pull up Girls' Generation again. And of course, like, it opened up the world to Mamamoo and Monsta X. And as you can see, like, it's become endless now, so.
Do you collect? Do you, like, collect albums and PCs? You do? Oh.
Yeah, the albums, photo cards, posters. I mean, these down here are, like, mostly fan-made ones because when I trade official photo cards or like we sell to each other, sometimes we throw in like freebies to each other, and so you end up with like a cute little collection.
Oh. I also hate myself because I forgot to push record.
Recording in progress.
This is crazy. It's like hopefully I wish it would just automatically do it. So let's just hope that it automatically does. If not, that's fine. We'll just keep going.
We can use as much of it as.
Yeah. So you've seen Monsta X in concert. Do you have like, I guess like, I'm gonna say a favorite moment, but like the most memorable moment from the concert?
Oh gosh. Hyungwon's Wildfire, because of course he's my bias. So.
That was too much. That was too much for me. Goodness gracious.
And he really, like, you know, in real life, he's such an introvert, and then just to, like, see him shine on stage, that was amazing.
Yeah. He wrote that one, and did he write Mercy?
He wrote Mercy, he wrote Burning Up, Nobody Else he wrote, and then from the One of a Kind album, he wrote Secrets, and he wrote Baby as well. So yeah, those are like some of my favorite ones, are the ones that he writes.
Yeah, it's so interesting to like get their different styles. I think when you like, you see the songs he writes or Jooheon or even I.M, like it's different, but it's Monsta X, and I think that's what makes like that whole group just so special. Because they have, like, different sounds. And they keep changing it up as well.
Yeah. They're super versatile. Like, you know, with Jooheon, you've got the more aggressive, like, title tracks. Which, of course, everybody loves. And then Hyungwon writes a lot of these sort of R&B, like, sexy songs. Which doesn't really seem like him, like, in a normal situation. But the music he writes.
Yeah. They're all different and so special. Min hasn't wrote anything yet, has he?
No, I mean, Shimi Jooheon wrote for both of them.
Right.
But, I mean, that totally has his personality in it.
I loved hearing that. That was my first time even listening to it. So when
Oh,
he had,
really?
yeah, so when he had the stage, I was like, "What song is this? I don't even care. You're doing great," and it fits him so well, and he just seems so happy. And yeah, that's definitely his song. Like I really enjoyed that about him. It was still like a lot of fun seeing him just so happy on stage. I wish I was closer so he could see that I was really happy as well.
It's such a cute song. Have you gotten a chance to see like the music video for it?
No, that's on my list today though.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes, it's amazing. It's super cute and fun.
Yes. I think I think it would be fun to see what he and Kihyun can do. I don't know why, but I just feel like that'll be like an interesting song too. Just because I love Min's raspy voice so much, and then you have like Kihyun who can like do like these high ranges. It would just be really interesting to see like what they would do if they came together.
I love when Shonu and Juhan get together for their units. I don't know if you saw their unit stage for Gasoline with Shonu and Juhan. It's one of my favorite stages.
I don't think I've heard Gasoline yet.
It's on the Fatal Love album.
Oh, yeah, I have. What's the word? Yeah, I have. Okay. So was it during that tour only, or did they have like a special stage?
I think they've only done it during like a particular tour, but you know, I go back and watch on YouTube as many times as I can.
I did see. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I did see when I.M and Juhan had did their rap stage.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
I wish they would have done that this time, but I'm pretty sure they're probably tired of that. But like that surprised me because I was still very much new to them at the time, and it just surprised me because I'm like, oh, like they can go crazy like this. I like it.
It was a brilliant stage, and it was really different for like I.M for Changhyun because he normally is the very mellow rapper, and then to have him like go crazy like that was awesome.
I'm like, who made you mad? Okay. That's awesome. So do you find that standing boy groups have like more mellow fans than female groups, or kind of like vice versa?
Each fandom is quite different. I don't think it depends like on a boy group or a girl group. I would say like Monsta X fans, Mon Bebe are quite mellow in general. Like, I don't know if you've seen it, but like we've gotten voted like the second most peaceful fandom.
Really? Yay!
It's funny because like I could see that, right? But I can also see the moment someone says something about one of the boys, then like Mon Bebe is ready to fight.
They're like, yeah, it's the hardcore fans. We'll call them. Like when I first like got into the fandom, I didn't think it was that many of us. Until like I started loading, and people were like, yeah, like this is like a group. So I was really surprised that we have a big fandom. But I think, especially like seeing where they came from, I'm just really proud of how far they've come, because I seen a TikTok the other day that was like, I think their first win was Dramarama, wasn't it? They got like, that was like their first win.
That was their first win, yeah.
That was crazy.
And by then they'd been out for like 2 years.
Right.
They've had a very slow but steady rise, and now suddenly like Shape of Love was one of the highest selling albums in Korea. So it's just, usually when a group gets really popular, they blow up really fast, but they have, kind of a slow rise. And so, yeah, I am kind of proud to see where they made it today.
Yes. And they're also the first K-pop group that I have really got interested in that has like full English albums.
Oh.
I was really proud and surprised by that because all of them were a banger. Like, like they were amazing, and I would have thought from that alone they would have been like just like up there. Because to me that takes a lot of work, especially because they're not fluent, except I am. But it can be a hard language, and so the fact that they took the time to make a whole album for like the US fans was insane. So
in some ways it is surprising they haven't blown up even more, and you're right, especially with like the English albums. And Hyungwon he's not fluent in English, but he's written Secrets fully in English. And when he was asked like well, why did you choose to write in English instead of Korean? He's just like, I wanted to challenge myself and do something new. And that's something I admire about them too. They're always trying new things. And so, yeah, it even though I am proud of where they are now, it is surprising that they aren't further with like more people who love them because they do put in a lot of hard work.
Exactly. And I think that's why I put them in a category of like underrated, because it's not like just like a word I'm throwing out. It's like because they are so talented and it just doesn't feel like they're getting the recognition that they deserve. But I'm pretty sure they feel that way as well. But I think after a while you just have to be like, well, we have the fans that we have, and we're just going to be grateful for those and just hope that, you know, down the line we get, you know, even more. But I'm actually happy because I feel like the bigger the fandom, the crazier it gets, so I'm fine with it.
I think it is growing, though, to be honest. It does feel like more and more people are discovering them. I see posts on, like, Facebook and Twitter all the time saying, hey, I'm a new mom baby, help me out to discover everything. And I feel like I'm seeing it a lot more lately.
Yeah, and it may be because Shape of Love. Or like their recent tour, I think, because I think they got held back 2 years for their tour, right?
Yeah.
Did you get tickets back then or like recently?
I had not gotten tickets back then because I was also stuck with COVID at the time.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Oh no.
So no, I wouldn't have gotten them back then. So I guess in a way, like, I'm lucky that it got held off a little bit because we spent like weeks and weeks laid back in bed at the time. So
yeah, that was a crazy year. I think we only like got to really like have fun like the first 2 months, and then after that it was just crazy.
Yeah, and you get sick of it, right? Just sitting around, but that's like why all of like the K-pop content and stuff was like really healing because you could just sit back and watch your variety shows and your music videos.
And they have a lot. Like I'm still so far behind on their content. They have so much.
Yes.
But it's also like good for like a new fan because they have like a lot to keep them company, especially because military is coming up. Not that I haven't had a date or anything, but I don't like that. Like that's when I first got into K-pop. I just felt like no, because like Shownu was already gone. Like when I started getting into them, so it wasn't as hard. But like my SF9, the other group that I'm in, I had to send 2 away, and it was just it's such a sad thing.
I know, and they're all unfortunately probably going to go around the same time because they're all basically the same age, except for like Juhan and Changkyun. But yeah, it is kind of a bummer. It's a different culture. I could see, you know, the requirement, and I'm sure they want to take on the responsibility of serving their country. I mean, but yeah, it is kind of a sad thing. It like puts sort of an expiration date on the time that you get to spend with each group, and it is a bit disappointing.
Exactly. It's kind of like, especially if you get close to them before they leave, it's kind of just like, oh no, like, I don't know, you have that bond, and like then they have to go, and it's just like 2 years. Like it's a long time. It could be a long time.
It's weird to, you know, you do feel that relationship with them, even though they might not directly know who you are.
Right.
You do form a bond with each and every single one of them, and then to have to send them away is definitely a bummer.
It's like a parent. It's like, oh, like I'll wait for you when you come back.
Yes. But you know, there have been groups that have done comebacks after military, so I'm hoping we get the same thing from Monsta X. Like I'm definitely like dreading the day when the rest of them go, but also looking forward to when they can come back.
Exactly, because it's like, to me, it's easier when the groups are closer in age because it's like it's less time when they come back versus like a group that's very spread out. Like SF9 is very spread out, so it's gonna take like so long to get everyone in. But I definitely know that they'll still like put out content and music, just because I know BTB did the same thing, and like they had like different type of comebacks with their units and stuff. And then of course everyone came back, which is really great. So yeah, I know that Mama Bear are gonna. I just feel like Mama Bear took it very hard because like I've seen stuff about Shownu, and it's easy to miss him. Like of course, right? But it's just like when I see things, it's just like I miss Shownu, and it's like I follow this account that like counts down the days until he comes back.
Yeah, I follow him too.
And I'm like, I can't keep watching this because it's just like you would think it would get smaller, but I feel like it's like a year and something, or like right there at a year.
Yep.
So that's crazy. But hopefully,
It does make it feel quite long because you're watching the number go down. It's like, what?
Right, it's been like a week for you, but like, did one day go by? Like, why? Like, I need him back now. So that's really interesting. And if they do go, then, because if my understanding, Shonu will be back, but Juhan and I.M would still also be, like, with that?
Yeah, so that's one thing I'm curious about. So, like, if, let's say, the 93 liners like Hyungwon, Ki, and Minhyuk go all at the same time, and Juhan and Changkyun don't, and I.M don't, then Shoni would be back and the rap line would still be around.
Right.
But I don't know if the smarter move would be to keep it that way and just do, like, units, or if they should rest of them should all just get it done and then come back together as a whole. I'm curious how they're going to handle that.
Yeah, because I seen this post and that made me super sad because they were like, yeah, they're going to leave I.M by himself. Well, let's not say that. We don't want them knocking in by himself.
I think I saw something similar too where they're like, everyone's going to get on the bus and just leave I.M behind. Like, oh my gosh, how depressing.
Right? Hopefully that doesn't happen because I would like it for at least one or two of them to stay and then Shonu comes back, because then that'll be lonely as well if Shonu comes back and he's by himself. It's like, yeah, we'll get solo stuff, which is amazing, but I don't want him to feel like very lonely either, you know?
Yeah. You know, what's funny is I think a lot of them don't want to be like doing solo stages. I read Changkyun I.M, he said recently, like, I don't want to do music show promotions by myself. I don't want to be on stage by myself, you know. But he still wants to put out music, obviously, the things that he writes. And I think Shonu would probably feel the same way. They are a group, and I think they will have that mentality forever.
Right.
Of course, it is time for a Shonu solo, though.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to something like that.
I need the abs, you know. I need the voice. His voice is so beautiful. I was like, I think it's my first introduction was the interview, and so because I think at first I thought he was a rapper, and so and just because of how he was built, and so I'm like, oh, he's a hardcore rapper, yeah, that's him, and like to find out he has like this beautiful and soft tone voice is so beautiful, and his English, like especially in the songs, are mind blowing. Like they're so.
I don't think we talk enough about Shonu's vocals. We always talk about him as a dancer, but there's a reason he's a lead vocalist too. He has gorgeous vocals. Have you gotten to see "Have a Good Night" with him and Minhyuk? Oh, it's so pretty. It's an OST. But it is gorgeous, and like I cry every time, to be honest.
Is it a music video or just like the song?
There's like live recordings of them singing it. I can't remember if there was a music video behind it. No, I don't think there was. I think there's just like just them sitting with their mics and singing it. But yeah, it's really, really pretty.
Send me the link and I'll watch it. So were you? I forgot to ask. Were you in the fandom?
Definitely.
Were you in the fandom when Wano was still there?
Oh, no. Yes. It's so sad to like. I mean, I still follow him as a solo artist, but yeah, like I still get bummed out about the idea of OT7 like never being a thing anymore, and I don't like. Yeah, I definitely don't want to dig into like the controversy and sadness of it. But yeah, I'm still gonna support him and all the solo stuff he does. I'm waiting for my Facade albums to come in. Like,
were you surprised when he did go solo of like his sound?
I not really. I think it fits him very well. Like all the things that he does in his solo work is very Wonho. Even when he switches it up, there's always like that Wonho feeling behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. Even though like as a person, he's like this bright, bubbly, fun person. He really fits those darker like music concepts.
Yeah, I think the first time I like really noticed him in that was like in Shine Forever music video. And I really enjoyed that side of him. It felt very like just dramatic, and he, especially like his hair color, everything was just very like, I really enjoyed that tone from him. I think I just like listened to his debut so far, but I know he just recently had a comeback. Were you able to catch that?
Yes, I actually have caught some of them live, and I was sitting in my room with my light stick.
Wait, does he have a light stick?
Yes, he does.
Ooh, what does it look like?
I have it actually.
Okay. Wow.
This is Wonho's.
It's like a crystal.
It's very pretty, right?
Yeah. How many light sticks do you have?
I just have the two right now.
Okay.
But I have obviously Monster X and Wonho's, but I want to get Mama Moo's radish light stick.
I didn't know what that was.
It's shaped like a radish, which is kind of funny. I wish I had the Girls' Generation one because it's harder to find now since it's older. But I definitely have to get one before I come back. Darn it.
I'm curious to see what theirs look like. Just because light sticks are new to me. Like, of course, like when I came into K-pop, I'm still very, like, I guess the baby K-pop saying, because I came in like the end of last year, so so everything was so new to me, especially because like the groups that I stand, like, of course in America and stuff, we didn't have those. We just had like the little regular glow sticks and stuff, so that was new to me. And I'm like, then I looked up the price and I'm like, whoa. But like, I feel like they're worth it because when I went to the Monsta X concert, and, like, so many people had the light sticks. And I was over here like, oh, my little glow stick. But it's so beautiful. It's such a pretty sight. And it's just, that's how you know you really stay in a group. It's like you really go out and support. And you buy their merch. And you just, like, it's just more than just, like, calling yourself a fan. And I feel like when you go that deep into it, it's worth it. Because, like, that's when you know, like, you really connect to that group. So I'm definitely going to get Monster X. I'm hoping to get them, like, for my birthday or Christmas. And ATs. Like, I want those two light sticks for sure. So I'm really excited. But that's really cool that you have them. Did you, like, is it like the Kpop site? The Kpop.com site?
So, my Monster X light stick was actually a Christmas gift. So I was very lucky for that. And this one actually was a Mercari purchase. Like,
oh, okay.
It was a secondhand. Like, someone had bought the light stick and didn't use it and sold it there. And there's actually huge, like, secondhand K-pop sales and trades. Like, it's a big thing. So yeah, lucky to be able to find this too. And the price was decent, especially compared to having to, like, order it from Korea, where, like, you could double the price just with shipping. So
yeah, I've heard shipping can be a little crazy.
Yeah, I mean, for the season's greetings, because I usually try to get those every year, it almost doubles the price just getting it shipped. But I think that's the reason why there's K-pop fans out there who do, like, group orders too. To help subside some of that. And of course, like, it gives them more of an opportunity to maybe get drawn for fan calls too. So I think that's also part of the reason. I would never trust myself to do, like, group orders myself because I'm not organized enough. But
okay.
I'm glad that people do.
Yeah. Would you be interested in a fan call? Like, if you won a fan call, like, who would you want it to be with? But it can't be Hyungwon. It can't be Hyungwon.
So if it wasn't Hyungwon, see, this is a hard one. So I could say Shonu because he's also a bias for me. And Wonho, of course, is another bias. But, like, I also know that Changkyun, IM, and, like, Juhan and Kian actually speak better English. And, like, I wouldn't want them to have to struggle to understand me because I don't really have good Korean. And so I would feel, like, bad, like, forcing them to try to understand my English when I don't know Korean in return.
I agree. I don't know if you've seen this. No shade to her, but, like, have you seen, like, this fan? She was talking with a 17 member, and she didn't know Korean, and of course he didn't know English, so it was very awkward. It was, like, just awkward silence. I didn't know have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
It was like a debate because it was kind of like, and I was kind of stuck as well because I thought they had translators during the calls. Like, I didn't know they didn't have the translators.
I think sometimes they do. I'm surprised that they didn't.
Right, especially because he didn't speak English. But I just feel like it was just really awkward because I felt bad for both of them because it was just like, yeah, on some level, if you know he doesn't speak English, then you should definitely learn Korean, just to meet him halfway. But yeah, if I ever got a fan call with someone who didn't speak English, something like I would Google Translate, or I'm like playing a game with them, like something. Like I think that is sometimes like the barrier, because like they have so much going on anyway. Like learning a whole nother language is like a lot of time. And I think like for fans who don't know Korean, I think when they win calls with people who don't speak English, I think it's definitely, you got to figure out something. You won the call, I think it's only 5 minutes, right?
It can be less sometimes. I think some of them are like 2 minutes long, which isn't that big of a time.
No, like I also don't think I could like do the small talk. If I got 2 minutes, I got to ask you some crazy questions real quick, and like we have to have like a bond.
We have to be in love within this 2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, that was also new for me. I don't know if you feel the same when the fan service thing. Was a shock to me, because sometimes I see fan calls and I'm just like, people are like asking them to marry them. Like, I don't know, it kind of goes a little crazy.
It's a different vibe, especially if you compare it to like Western artists, because there's a way more of a distance.
Yeah.
The fan service thing, there's a reason they do it. It does. Obviously, the fans love it. But I do wonder sometimes if there's some of the things they're asked to do, like, like Akio and stuff, if they do get tired of it sometimes. I'm sure they do at some point. And then, like, the flirting and the fan service, I'm sure at some point they get tired of that, too. But they do it because they love us, I guess. Yeah.
And to me, it's always impressive when they remember the fan's name. Like, when they're like, I was just like, Jessica, you, like, that's crazy. Especially because they meet so many different fans. So I think that they really do care. I think just for me, it's just more of a shock that they, like you said, it's so different. And like, when I like first seen it, I'm just like, oh, like you're so close to, like they were like getting like their face and kind of like looking into their eyes. I'm like, they're really flirting here. Okay.
One of my favorite Hyungwon fan service flirt moments, he was on a fan call and one baby said, oh, you're wearing the same sweater I am. And he was like, well, you saw it when I left this morning. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's so funny. But I feel like sometimes, and I was talking to my friend about this, I feel like sometimes when they're younger, I think sometimes the flirting can be a bit much for them, because sometimes it could probably go over their head and it kind of feels more like personal than it probably should, just because, I mean, they're still young, so they feel like, like, maybe he will marry me one day. And it's just it's a very, I think, sensitive topic when they're younger. I feel like when you're older, like, we know, like, we're adults, we know this. So, like, no, never, but you never know. But for them, I think sometimes it can go a little far, because I've seen this tweet before where this girl, she like got the fan call, like she does it quite often. And I don't know, I feel like sometimes she's a little delusional about it, just a little bit, because like she really thinks like they're dating, and I'm just like, well, like they have a life, and I get the privacy thing, like I would be too, because the fans can get crazy if they like came out with a spouse, especially like how they look and stuff. So I'm really happy that they are able to date in their private life, because like that was another thing, because when I first came in the group that I was in, they couldn't date. It was like a dating ban, kind of. And I felt bad, because I was just like that's a part of growing up. Like, I feel like, dating, like that's a part of like how you grow up. And I was just hoping that when I got into the older groups, like it was okay. But they were still very private and secretive, which I don't blame them. But yeah, I just always just hope that, because again, like, once I get close to a group, I'm very like, hopefully you have like a really good life behind the scenes, because I've seen people kind of go in detail about the behind the scenes and how it's not at all how they perceive, like,
not as glamorous as you would guess.
Exactly. So I'm just really happy that I feel like Monster X in general, because they talk about it a lot in their songs.
Yeah, and that's something I always think about, because they, Hyungwon, for being someone who says he's never been in love, sure writes a lot of love songs.
I am just writes depressing love songs. You're just like, wow. I mean, wow.
And his lyrics are either like depressing and deep or just like straight up sexy. You never really get an in between with him. So
I feel like Monsta X in general, I'm just like, yikes. Like, who are y'all dating out here? Wow. But I really enjoy that. And I think, because my friend, she's very, like, into Monsta X as well. And she kind of just goes into, like, they also talk about a lot of, like, their mental health throughout their songs and just interviews in general. And I really enjoy that because I feel like, at least from my knowledge, which isn't a lot, in the Korean, like the country, they aren't very expressive of that, or they don't talk about that enough. And like I think sometimes when they do, they get very judged. And I'm happy that Monsta X is a group that's very like, we're not ashamed, like it happened, we go through this, because it is normal. Like I feel like, especially like I guess the Western, we're very used to hearing that now. I think like over the years it's definitely gotten better. And we have a lot of just celebrities that talk about it all the time, and they're like just very much for those and try to help those. And I think Monsta X is a group that does very well without it being very like forced, like I'm depressed. Like no, like they would go in detail, like, you know, I went through something, I'm healing. And so I just really enjoy that about them as well.
yeah, of course, like back in 2019, like Juhan went on hiatus because he needed a break. They are humans behind every stage, every album. You know, there's humans behind that, and so they might have mental health days when they just need a break, or they're just tired. They're not robots.
Exactly. And I think they're like one of the first few groups that it didn't feel like they were like 1, 2, 3. Like they were very like robotically doing it. It's kind of less like we're gonna go with the flow. You know, I think also because I came in later, so this wasn't like debut. This was like way after. So I feel like during debut, because it's very fragile, because it's like, are we gonna keep going? Like, is this gonna be a thing? That when I go back to their like earlier stuff, I still don't feel that way. I still feel like Monsta X is very much kind of just like, I mean, besides the show, you know, No Mercy was just well, but like once they debuted and stuff, they very much felt like they were in this game for a minute. Like they just felt very comfortable and just very relaxed, even in interviews and stuff. So it's really nice and refreshing to see a group like that. So yeah, I'm just really proud of them. Like
well, really, in the beginning, Monsta X was a group made up of kids who thought that this was their last chance. I mean, they all, which is really crazy because the Shona at the time, I think, was like 24 and thought he was going to be too old.
Yeah.
That's just nuts.
So I know you said you're a really fan of Mamamoo. They don't have a tour coming up, do they?
No, they did announce they're doing a comeback soon, but I haven't heard anything about a tour.
Gotcha. Because I can't remember, did you come into the fandom in the beginning or kind of like later, or when did you come into fandom?
With Mamamoo, it was a little later on. Gosh, I can't remember what came. I think Aya had just come out when I found Mamamoo, and that song was a little bit different for me. I was confused by it at first, but then like I fell in love with that song and I was like, okay, I have to hear more now because these vocals are crazy. Right. And like Solar, the way she sings, her vocals, her technique, it's just brilliant. And then to add the other voices into it and Moonbyul's rapping, like powerhouse group.
So have you gotten into their solo stuff? I'm pretty sure, but have you gotten into their solo stuff yet?
Yeah, so obviously Solars and Wasses. Moonbyul's I haven't gotten to see as much of. Like, unfortunately, she was doing a comeback the same time Monsta X was doing their Love comeback. And so I was like really torn. I didn't know what to do.
So I guess like more personal. So like, does any of their soloists, any like song like really speaks to you and kind of like just makes you feel like I feel accepted and like comfortable?
I can't really think of any like solo works off the top of my head that, oh, you know what? Maria from Wasa was one that really had something to say. Like sometimes I would get like, I know the song like beat wise and melody wise is a little more upbeat, but the lyrics, if you really like read into them, are very deep. Like I'm a little teary-eyed sometimes when I listen to it because it is a message of like accepting yourself no matter who you are and being okay with that, and loving yourself. And that's a hard message, and especially for a like a Korean star, a Korean pop star, it's difficult because there is a lot of high beauty standards and ways that you're supposed to be. So for her to come out and say, you know what, Maria Wasa, you're beautiful no matter what, and so is everyone else.
Exactly. And I agree. Like when I first heard like, because I had heard this song before. It's like
Mhm.
on a lot of edits and like in the background of like variety shows and stuff. Um, but when I like saw the music video and I was looking at the lyrics, I immediately got like, let me, because I didn't know it was that deep. And I
Mhm.
immediately connect with that song. And I say the same for me. Like Maria is definitely one of those songs that's just like, yeah, hits home. Like it's
Mhm.
definitely like a comfort song for me. So it was really surprising to see that. And I think just overall, like the more I learn about Mamamoo, they're like a fierce group. It's like their vocals is almost like we can like they don't have to, I guess, just go by the stereotypical this, that, and the third. Because
Mhm.
people were even saying like they came into the game very much like they're gonna do kind of like their own
What they want to
thing.
do.
Exactly. And I really enjoyed that. It's like not about being like a rebellious group. It's about just being a very like I guess just comfortable and confident group. And I was really sad to hear that Kwasa or Maria, she went through that
Yeah.
because when people, I was just like, because I couldn't wrap my head around. I guess because I'm a plus size person, but I couldn't wrap my head around her being called fat. Like it never really
Because
just
she's not, because she's gorgeous. Like, it
exactly.
doesn't matter what size she is. She's a gorgeous human being. Like, and sure, she's thick, but that's gorgeous on her. And, in the beginning, they were told, oh, Wasa's going to be a problem for you guys.
Mm,
And that's horrible. Like, and of course, she heard that too.
right.
And, she was young, and to be told that at a young age, like, that's going to hurt your self confidence. But yeah, they're a group now that just doesn't care. They're sassy, and like the same clothes that Solar is wearing, Wasa will go out there and wear too, and they both look gorgeous in it.
Exactly. And I like that because I think I've seen a clip of Hasa saying, because someone asked her, they were like, what diet are you on or something like that. And she was like, just eat. She was like, just eat.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so special because again, like that, I like that message that they send because like you said, like Korea has like very different standards than we do.
Mhm.
And sadly, I think a lot of it is it's like this one image. It's like this one image equals beautiful and like nothing.
Yeah.
It's just weird to think that just because I guess we're so used to seeing so many different people in the West. Like we have all different type of shapes, sizes,
Mhm.
colors, everything. So I really enjoy that for them. I think third gen, maybe because they're older, so they've, been there, done that. But I'm liking that these older groups are just really pushing out the message of like just accept yourself, love yourself. Like
Mhm.
you go through things, get back up, you try again. Because I know it wasn't always like that. The more I learned about K-pop in different groups, sadly, I think in the beginning it was very much like robots. Like,
Yes. There's an old clip of Girls' Generation in the practice room, and I don't know. I know you're still new to them, but Yuna and Yuri look very much alike. And one of them had taken a bite from an apple and was going to get in trouble for it. And they couldn't figure out which one it was. They were going to get in trouble for taking a bite of this apple. And they're playing it as if it's like very fun. All the girls are laughing, ha ha ha. You don't know who ate the apple, but it's just like, why are we caring who ate the apple anyway? Like,
right.
you're hungry. Like, you
And
darn
it's an
apple.
apple. That was a cheeseburger. It's an apple.
Yeah. And like, yeah, they were, and because they were young, they all just were like, this is funny and this is hilarious. But like watching it now, it's like, do they realize how weird that was?
And because I know we talk about like the younger, like the fourth gen being like very young coming in. Did back in the day, were they the same? Like, did they start young or was it kind of like,
So I would say a lot of like Girls' Generation, for example, they were trainees between like 12 and like 14, maybe something like that. And their debut was closer to when they were 17 or 18. So similar ages. I don't think the ages has changed much because I think they do like want to all start young, which can be a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah. I don't know if it's better or worse nowadays because it's probably worse simply because social media plays a big part of it, and so they see more things about them every day at a young age, even like in the Western culture. Like it's just very. I feel like it could be a lot on a young person, and I think they were even saying because I think one of the newer groups. I think one of them are I think 13, 14. She's very young.
Mhm.
And I think the oldest in her group is like 17. I don't know. It's some new group. But to me, that's just it's very young when you have like an almost 18-year-old in the same group. I don't know. It's just
Yes.
it's different. It's different.
At those ages, you don't even know who you are. And you've got people telling you who you should be. And that's
Exactly.
not it. That can be very difficult for your own like self-development. And, if what they're telling you is what you are, maybe is not what you're supposed to be, then that's rough. Like you don't want to grow up that way and look back on it and be like, oh wow, I've been spending my whole life being what everyone else wants and haven't discovered who I want to be and who I am.
Exactly. And I think even with the positions sometimes or like the titles of it, like
Oh
for
yeah.
example, like the vitamin of the group, like what if he wants to take a break for a day? Like what if he doesn't want to be the happy one? Like it's just very because Eric from the boys, like I can't remember if he was like the vitamin of the group, but he's the McNay, but he's very energetic and he's always like that. And so to like see that he had to take a hiatus, I do wonder if it's because it's just like not all the time he
You
wants.
can't be on all the time.
Exactly. It's like to me, eventually you're gonna crash because you don't want to be like that all the time. It's not who you really are. So I'm not saying that's like how he is, because I'm not really sure, but it's just it made me think of that because it's just they don't have to put on these personas. Like
Mhm.
just be yourself. Like even I feel like a lot of groups they always feel like they have to be like the funny one or like the loud one or like I don't know. It's just like it
They
doesn't
have to
have.
have an image, something to make them stand out from the rest, and that's hard to do all the time.
Mm-hmm. Because like your music should speak for itself. Like I feel like a lot of time the music is what brings people in at first anyway. So it should start with that and then go from there because the whole personality because it always has me thinking like, are they really them or is it just because they were trained to be that way? It's just
Mhm.
weird. It's like getting into K-pop, it's just like a lot of things are just like, wow.
The more and more content you watch of a single group, the more you can pick out like, oh, this is who they really are versus
Hmm.
like, okay, maybe this is them being on. You
Hmm.
can you can pick up on more of that over time. But yeah, it does make you wonder.
Yeah. Especially with the older groups, because like well, were they filmed like that? Like older? Like were they filmed? Because like now they film like 24/7, like them
Mhm.
sleeping and everything.
Mhm. Yeah, there was variety content and shows back for like second gen groups and stuff like that. Like Girls' Generation had a few. Um, now it it is hard to say like what is real in those types of shows sometimes. I think a lot of it really is their own personality and they kind of just write around that for
Right.
sure. But yeah, they did have that back in the day. And like I was searching on YouTube for all of that content that I could find. It was harder to find then than it is now. Obviously, it's more available nowadays.
Exactly. And because I know how many members does Girls' Generation have?
They started with 9 and currently have 8.
Ah, okay. Did the person left? Is she a soloist?
She's not. So she went and she's doing like her own clothing brand business, but actually more recently she got onto like a Chinese like it's a show for like idols who are wanting to come back and it's a Chinese one. So I don't know how that's going for her. But yeah, she did a couple of solo things, but not a whole lot.
Right. Well, that's good for her. I think another member from an older group, well, maybe it was Girls' Generation. I just seen a clip a while ago that said like
Mhm.
a member had left a group because she wanted to live a normal life.
Mhm.
which I can see that as well, especially like just being in the spotlight all the time. You know, she made me want to enjoy herself. But
Mhm.
that's still cool because I don't know why I thought it was like 13 members because it's just I was like very new, so I'm just like it's so many females.
So many faces.
Right. Um, and so and especially because I know like one or two 'cause from like the the girls reunion
Oh yeah.
thing, but like they look so different. Like of course they were kids then, like now they're grown adults.
Mhm.
But it's just always nice to see like when they're still together after like many, many years. Cause I feel like that's when you know that it wasn't just like all for show. Like if we're still together this
Mhm.
long, like, you know, it had to be a bond or something.
Yeah, there's got to be something there, of course. And I think Girls' Generation is one of those groups. If you are still like really wanting to dig deeper into K-pop, they're ones that I think most people should start with because they're definitely a template for what the girl groups are today. There's a reason they were the nation's girl group, and a reason why when like G came out, the Korean economy just went like up because it was that big of a song. G and Genie both did that for like the Korean economy, and like they're a huge group. And to now 15 years later be doing a comeback, yeah, there had to have been something there, either between the members or just something with their work together that just fits.
Right. And I'll go ahead and that ask the last two questions. So I'll make the one fun. So if you if you were to debut in a company, what company would you want to debut with?
Ooh, it's a hard one because they're all. I guess I would have to say SM because SM does have a lot of like vocal powerhouses,
Mhm.
and it seems like they probably have a lot of great coaches that get people there. So yeah, if I had to choose one, I think I would choose SM.
SM, I always like compare them to like the visual. They're the visual group. They're like
Oh,
everyone there's so pretty. It's just like
it's true.
goodness.
That's
Um,
true.
I can't even remember the first SM group. Maybe aespa was the first group like I had heard of from
Okay.
SM.
Yeah.
Just a lot of visuals.
Yes, yes.
Wait, no, God, no. It was a boy group that was with them. Oh wait,
Let's see.
it's a third grade boy group. Woo, it wasn't EXO. Was it EXO?
It could have gosh.
I
Who
don't
could it
know.
have been?
Because I thought EXO or was it NCT. NCT is with SM.
That's-
I'm like those are
now
like
I'm getting
the
them all
groups.
mixed up myself.
Because I don't think they were by G.
Uh,
I'm not like I'm
oh, EXO is SM, right?
okay. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Okay. Because I think their debut was just like, very shocking to me. Um, and then the last question would be like, as a K-pop fan, like especially the groups that you're in, like, do you feel accepted in like the group, or like, do you feel like very like represented well?
Mm. I would say yes, like especially like, you know, Bon Bebe is a fairly diverse group.
Mm,
Um, and honestly, there's like a lot of people who are my age, but actually I've noticed lately a lot of younger folks joining the fandom too. So it is a very like diverse, very accepting, very sweet group to be a part of. I've not really run into Monbebe who are not friendly or not like loving people.
right. And like I guess because like I'm biased because I'm a mama bear, but I agree. Like, well, not really, because like I've seen how other fandoms kind of interact and stuff. Um,
Mhm.
and I think because it's more, like I said, like the age difference between like
It
third and
does
fourth
make a
gen groups,
difference.
that it's just always nice when I see, especially older people in mama bear, because I'm just like, yeah, like
Mhm.
age doesn't matter here. Like we're very much accepted, and I do think that we're very diverse because even going to the concert it was like so many people. It was like so many different type of people.
And
Like
like people bringing their kids too, which I thought was adorable.
I sat next to it was a mom and her son, and he went crazy during beast mode. Like he was going crazy. I'm like, yeah, they have great music. Yeah.
Yes. You know what? If I have kids one day, I'm definitely going to be a Monbebe mom and they're going to the concerts with me and it's going to be amazing.
Exactly. Because they're just it's like that's how you know like the music really speaks to all different types of people. Like you got kids over here going crazy. I even like I seen like a grandma, like she was just wilding out over Monster X. I thought that was amazing. And I think they know that as well. They have a very diverse fan group, which is
Yeah. And like the moms and the grandmas, they love like Shonu, they love Juhan, like
I see that a lot with Shonu. I'm just like
I know, yeah, the mommies love Shonu.
But thank you so much, Priscilla. I had so much fun. If you want to do this again, just let me know. I'm gonna edit. I don't know when it's gonna be out because I'm like about to do twice a week. So but yeah, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah,
I hope
thank
that
you.
you're able to share it. I'll see the link first, and then I'll get your permission again just to so I can put it on my channel.
Sure.
And besides that, I hope you have a good day. Thank you so
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much.
much.
Bye.